Okay, there we have it again. Next video is getting made. Now I talked about the stuff going on in front, so I move now on top. The top part, obviously, as you know, here we go, it's trying to focus, there we have it, is used for 360 rad. As you know, I went for the Alpha Cool UT60 radiator, and it's been used in push-pull configuration. There wasn't really any complications with that particular part install. Well, there was initially one little thing that kind of put me back slightly, but that was easy to remedy. It was basically the adens there. I had to use the extension fittings to you know, get the compression fittings lower down, so to enable me to fit that right push fan, because originally I couldn't get it in because the compression fittings was just too high. But that's it, you know, that wasn't really a major complication. It was just a kind of this design flaw really on my part. But that's it, so it's all went in fine. And as you remember from my previous video, I was talking about these supplied M3 screws, and I was telling you that the heads are a bit too small because they were falling through the holes on top of the case. But I go around that issue by sourcing some other M3 screws, 30mm screws locally. These are nickel plated screws instead of copper plated supplied by Alpha Cool, and used a bit of also a little washers as well. So I think they actually look pretty cool. So it does look quite nice. And obviously you can see these white Zalman fans coming through, so yeah, quite nice. So that's it. Well, speaking of yeah, sorry, I already mentioned, someone asked actually on forums about these copper plated M3 screws, and yeah, they come supplied with the Alpha Cool radiators. They only give you enough screws to do one row of the fans, so if you're doing push or you're doing just pull, then you'll find if you're doing push-pull, then yes, you will have to get some additional screws like I did, because they only supply enough screws to get one row of the fans on. So bear that in mind. Also, while we're there, I'll talk quickly about these Zalman fans. Obviously, someone again asked me about the noise levels on these fans and whatnot. Okay, to give you a quick idea about these fans, that's the box from there. It is advertised as ultra quiet fan, and that's a Zalman ZM SF3 fan, 120mm. They don't actually make these in 140, so I was kind of, you know, hoping to use something there for 140. Radiator, but I just reused the Corsair fans from the case, so that's fine. But I think, you know, if they would have been white, they probably would have stood out a bit better. But anyway, so these fans there are supplied, or not supplied, they are advertised as 900 to 1500 RPM plus minus 10%, and noise levels are advertised as 18 to 23 dBA plus minus 10. Now, outside the case, while you just, you know, firing up the fan on its own, being attached to nothing, it is a little bit audible in 12 volts, but then it does come with supplied 7 volt step down adapter, and once the fan is running in 7 volts, it becomes ultra quiet, or I would say silent basically. However, it all changes the second you put these fans in a case, or maybe even not just put them in a case, but use them in push-pull configuration, as I do in water cooling setup. I am running all of these fans, and I got how many? 9 of them? Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's one there down there. They, even running them in 7 volts, they become a bit audible because obviously of the extra noise levels involved by air traveling through the radiators. It doesn't bother me that much, to be honest, but I am kind of keen to get the noise levels down a bit while the case or computer is running on idle, i.e., you know, maybe I'm just doing some internet browsing or something, which is pretty idle, you know, there's not much resources used. When I'm gaming, you know, I'm putting my headset on, and that's not really an issue at all, so it's, you know, it could be noisy as hell, to be honest, but I wouldn't be really hearing that because of the headset being over my ears. But yes, the case as such, or the build, is not noisy at all. It is audible, but it's not noisy. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say by that, you know, not being noisy but being audible, you know, because noisy is like, you know, I don't know, a jet taking off or something, but this is, you know, you just hear that whooshing noise from the fans. So it is audible, but it's not, you know, as noisy as hell. But as I said, yeah, I'm wanting to get these noise levels slightly down for the idle situations, and to do that I would need a fan controller of some sort, and I am planning to invest probably in T-balancer, and that would let me to cut down this fan speeds even further if the computer is idling. So I haven't really committed to that one as yet, but that's work in progress, and I'm possibly will go that route. But yeah, it's to come, and it's still kind of at the drawing board. Okay guys, so I'm cutting this video now here, but I'm making the next part straight away, so stay tuned. Thank you.